Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Raik Bal. I am from the Chemistry department and my age is 15. Now I will discuss the third course, Intermediate SQL. Chapter 1. Case statements. The case statements goes through conditions and returns a value when the first condition is met, like an if then else statement. So once a condition is true, it will stop reading and return the result. If no conditions are true, it returns a value in the else clause. If there is no else part and no conditions are true, it returns null. Simple, simple subqueries. There are a few rules that subqueries must follow, and subqueries must be enclosed within parentheses. A subquery can have only one column in the select clause unless multiple columns are in the main query for the subquery to compare its selected columns. An order by command cannot be used in a subquery, although the main query can use an order by. The group by command can be used to perform the same function as the order by in a subquery. Subqueries that return more than one row can only be used with multiple value operators such as the in operator. A subquery cannot be immediately enclosed in a set function. The between operator cannot be used with a subquery. However, the between operator can be used within the subquery. Correlated subquery. In a SQL database query, a correlated subquery, also known as a synchronized subquery, is a subquery that uses values from the outer query. Because the subquery may be evaluated once for each row processed by the outer query, it can be slow. Correlated subqueries may appear elsewhere besides the where clause. Window functions. Window functions applies aggregate and ranking functions over a particular window. Overclass is used with window functions to define that window. Overclass does two things. The first, partitions rows into form set of rows. Second, order rows within those partitions into a particular order. Order by clause is used. This diagram shows the main difference between aggregate function and windows function. Chapter 2, where are the subqueries? Uh, in this chapter, we will learn what is a subquery, a query nested inside another query, select column from as subquery, useful for intermediary transformations. So the now the question arises: what do you do with subqueries? Can be can be in any part of a query. Select from where group by can return a variety of information. The scalar quantities are list a table. Chapter 3, Correlated Subqueries, uses values from the outer query to generate a result return for every row generated in the final database, used for advanced joining, alternating, and evaluating data. This is the main difference between simple subquery and correlated subquery. In simple subquery can be run independently from the main query. In correlated subquery, dependent on the main query to execute, evaluated in loops. And a simple subquery evaluated once in the whole query. Correlated subquery significantly slows down query runtime. Chapter 4, Introducing Window Functions. Perform calculations on an already generated result set, aggregate calculations similar to subqueries in select, running totals, rankings, moving averages. Key references. Processed after every part of query except order by, uses information in result set rather than database, available in PostgreSQL, Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, but not SQLite. Over and partition by, calculate separate values for different categories, calculate different calculations in the same column, average over. That's all from my side.